What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Here the Spirit, presented to you by Noel Game Day. We are here on this, what day is it? Monday evening, recapping Florida State versus Notre Dame. This one went into overtime. What an insane weekend. We'll get all into it, but Florida State falls to number 9, Notre Dame 41-38 late in the overtime. Gentlemen, with me this evening, Austin Veazey, our lead basketball writer. Down below, Nate Greer, lead recruiting insider. Dustin Lewis, our lead writer and editor. Everybody was in the stands, guys. First off, how was the weekend? How are we treating? I got a sore throat, and I'm still half asleep.
Well, I hope you don't have COVID.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I think that was the best atmosphere. That's definitely the best atmosphere since Notre Dame 2014. Probably the best atmosphere I've been in, better than Miami 2013. Some of it may be, waiting for 2 years to really be there to cheer. I'm sure that played a little bit of a part, but that crowd was phenomenal last night, man. They fed off the players fed off them. Great atmosphere, great, just college football game in general. Hate that they lost, and I know there's no moral victories, but that crowd last night, the atmosphere, even, I got there a little bit earlier, outside, and from the time you walked up, you could just feel it was a different energy, man. It was a really good time. I was more mad I had to walk back to the hotel because I couldn't find a cab or Uber. So walking back 2.2 miles to the hotel made me really mad at 1 a.m. But otherwise, it was a good time yesterday.
It was a really great game. I don't think any of us were expecting what happened. FSU goes down big in the third quarter, 38-20. Everyone would have been like, it's number 9 Notre Dame. It's kind of what's supposed to happen. And they just came roaring back. They didn't quit. The students didn't quit. The fans didn't quit. And Florida State came back and made it a really entertaining game. Much better than a lot of people were expecting. I'm glad it ended up being an entertaining game. I came in with no expectations, and now I think we're all leaving with what feels like a little bit of hope for the rest of the season.
I think all of us, all Florida State fans were, when it was 38-20 going to the fourth, were like, this is over. This game's over.
Yeah, because that team doesn't usually do that. In the last three years, you haven't seen
5 years
want to fight back.
That. They haven't really done that since 2016 when they went to the Orange Bowl. I think that was the last year you really saw a Florida State team fight. 2017 was its own issues and had its own things going on, but I think that's the biggest takeaway for me was they didn't give up. They got punched in the mouth. They pushed through adversity, and they responded, and they had a chance to win the game. Like that just shows the culture's changed. And, even the coaches who didn't recruit these players have now bought into the coaching staff just to have that performance. If Florida State's going to struggle some this year, you got to be cautious taking something off of just that one game. The Wake Forest game will be very indicative of what's going to happen. See if they can respond and perform like that. But it was great to see just the will, just to keep punching back. It was awesome.
I saw someone on Twitter say it's very reminiscent of the 2011 Oklahoma game. It has this crazy atmosphere. The culture's building, but it's not there yet. Like they got close to winning, but they weren't exactly there. That's what this felt like. Everything was there for Norvell to make a statement. He got damn close to making a statement. But I came away very pleased, honestly. There's still things that need to be cleaned up, like some busted coverages, some play calls here and there. 87 just kept. I swear, every time Notre Dame needed to play, 87 was open. Whether it was an out, like a 5-yard out route, whether it was middle of the field, 20 yards. But
he had 9 catches.
Yeah, and he should have had 14. He had 3 or 4 drops. I still came away very pleased. There's stuff to be improved upon, but overall, I think it's hard to be too disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, the end result was heartbreaking, in the moment, but getting a chance to look back and revisit it, rewatch the game. I mean, Florida State, they played a hell of a game last night. And like you said, Austin, like you said, Nate, this team has quit, multiple times over the past 5 years when faced with adversity. And I mean, to go down 38-20 last night and then to, get points on your next 3 offensive possessions, the defense shuts down Notre Dame, you force overtime. I mean, it basically went perfect for Florida State up until that overtime possession on offense where, things started kind of to go off the rails. But I mean, regardless, a close loss to the number 9 team in the country, the first game of the season, I think you've got to be really impressed with this effort. And if this is the Florida State team that we're going to see consistently throughout 2021, I think the outlook definitely increases.
And it's important that they keep having this mentality. It can't be like after the UNC game last year where they actually show us something and they just lay a dud the last 6 games of the season or however many games it was. They have to keep up this fight, like Nate says. So once the team travels up to Winston-Salem to play Wake Forest, then we'll see what kind of team this is. But I gotta appreciate the effort. Gotta appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be important not to have a hangover game this upcoming weekend against Jacksonville State. Obviously they're a team that Florida State should easily take care of, but it's another thing. I mean, we've seen over the past couple of years, this team kind of plays to its level of competition. So I want to see Florida State, after this kind of emotional loss to Notre Dame, come out there and dominate Jacksonville State, frankly. They didn't even put a point on the board in their opening game this weekend.
Yeah. Now, the team had fight. Just going back to first initial reactions to the game, the overall experience, it was nice to be tailgating going on, jam-packed. I mean, the weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot. The sun didn't stay out the whole entire time. Heading into the stadium, you had F-16s warming up beforehand. You had all the Barstool people there taking photos with everyone. Like, I just felt like good to have that atmosphere back in Tallahassee and good for the local businesses. And then going into the stadium, like Nate was saying, I mean, the pregame was phenomenal. Everybody's watching the video board to see who was starting. The Marching Chiefs had an incredible performance, both pregame and during the halftime. And the tribute to Bobby Bowden, I think, was one of the most emotional things that I've ever gone through inside of the stadium since I was little. I mean, that was so special. Just all over, the whole day, just emotional roller coaster, in my opinion. But the game, too, going on the field was just awesome. That's what you think about Florida State staying close with a really talented team with Notre Dame. And, that's what you think about it. Doak at night, the crowd being there, the student section stayed in their seats, even when halftime, they stayed there and were staying loud. That's what you think of Florida State and Doak Campbell Stadium under the lights, prime time. It did what it needed to do.
Yeah, one thing I will say is, Florida State, they have got to improve the concession stands. Last night, the lines, dude, were absolutely insane. Like I went to go get a Powerade at halftime, and I got in a line of about 40 people. And there's 4 windows, but only 2 registers of the 4 were actually being used. So I didn't even know there was a Bobby Bowden tribute until you just said something. I missed the entire thing. And then at the end of halftime, I was still 15 people deep, and I just left the line because the third quarter was starting.
Well, part of it was like a lot of the card readers were down. Like I went to get a water before the game, and they're like, "Yeah, only one of our card readers is working out of 5." I was like, "Oh, that's great."
Hey, here's an idea.
In the game, come on.
Here's an idea: take cash.
They wouldn't allow it. Like they weren't accepting any forms of cash.
No.
Yeah. But the game. Let's start kind of dialing in. Here, I'll put some stats up.
I was going to say, go back to that interception by Kyle Hamilton, man. That was one of the best plays I've ever seen. He came over from the far hash. Mm-hmm. That interception was just phenomenal, dude.
Travis shouldn't have lofted it. Both of his, or 2 of his interceptions, like he just lofted it and gave the defense a chance to run underneath it. But it was still an unbelievable play.
No. So one, Travis should have threw it like a second sooner. He was open, and 2, he lofted it, which gave him time. He saw it, but that loft is what.
There we go.
This guy came over, so he ran like 40 yards across the field. Right, boom!
And the question is, did he bobble that ball at all when he came down? Because I saw some people talking about it on social media.
Yeah, they never reviewed this.
The ball might have moved.
Yeah, they should have reviewed it.
And I mean, it's a heck of a play, but I mean, there's a lot going on right here.
There's
Diving catch on the sideline, coming down on his chest. So, I mean, did this move at all?
Both knees are down.
Yeah, the knees are down. I'm wondering if he had.
But, I mean.
But does he have full control when he goes to the ground? Does he maintain it? You can't tell from that angle.
I mean, right there, his hands under the ball. So.
But did it move? If it moves at all,
who cares?
I'm just saying.
At this point, it doesn't matter. It was a hell of a play, regardless.
They don't review that, but they review the thing in overtime that cost FSU a field goal. So,
well, it's because Norvell called it. We don't need to talk about that. Norvell called it.
If we talk about that, I'm gonna get pissed off.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I'm glad he took his helmet off, though. That was a nice flag. But yeah, no, there was a lot of plays where Jordan Travis wasn't just hitting his easy throws to the flats. I was wondering, there's a few times where Cameron McDonald would be open, easy first down there. And, I think J Trav was just going for the bigger the plays. Should have been just easy dip offs to the screens.
Yeah, there were times where Parchment, I know he kept trying to look, Parchment was behind the secondary. And all he had to do was loft it. It would have been 6. So I don't know what he's looking for. He missed running backs in the flat. I mean, he missed a lot of open guys, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's get into it.
Jermaine Johnson, someone Carol put on here from Facebook saying that she's very thankful for the transfer portal. Jermaine Johnson, guys, talk about him because, wow, number 11 is here. The first half, it was almost unstoppable. But Jermaine Johnson is here, and Keir Thomas.
lived in the backfield.
Yeah, he was all over the place, man.
Yeah, he's different. I mean, he's exactly what we expected. Coming in from Georgia, we thought he was going to have an instant impact on this defense, and one of the reasons he came to Florida State was that opportunity to be an every down defensive end. And I mean, he flashed last night. Getting into the backfield, sniffing out that end around, getting a tackle for loss. Constantly putting pressure on Cone. I mean, just everything that you wanted from him, he did. And I mean, even to the point, he showed a lot of leadership out there on the field. And after the game as well, I thought he spoke like a leader. His presence is going to be absolutely huge for the defense this year.
I think what maybe I'm not going to say it surprised people, but what I liked was how good he was in the run game too. He's not just a pass rusher. Like he did a really good job anchoring and just getting off the block. I mean, he did a damn good job.
The whole defensive line.
Game. Yeah, the whole defensive line. Not just the starters. The fact that they're too deep did well. Krishan Fuller looks like a holy crowd. Holy cow, a whole different player. I almost said the S word, but I didn't want to say that. But
no,
he looks like a whole different player. Derek McClendon had a lot of quality snaps. He played really well. Robert Cooper played well. Jared Jackson had a couple good plays. Cushney, he got off the edge a lot. He got some pressure. So, even though too deep looked good. But Johnson is definitely that dude.
Yeah, no, he is. He's recorded 1.5 sacks. He had a total of 7 tackles, 2 solos, and 2.5 tackles for losses. Deloach led the team on defense with tackles with 8 overall, and had a half tackle for loss. I think Deloach looked good to me. I mean, it was good to see him when you get that first kind of start there and a primetime game like that. That's huge. And I thought he played pretty well for what he was going against. And, there's still some things that need to be fixed there in the linebacker room. But, number 20, impressed a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, he had that. I think that bust that led to the first Notre Dame touchdown was on him. After that, I think he kind of evened out, and I liked what I saw from Cortez Andrews too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought Gaynor played well. I thought Lundy played pretty well. Dick. So that's going to be. Looks like it's going to be your rotation. Yeah, linebackers played okay.
Yeah, I thought they were solid against the run, but just kind of those same issues in pass
They were
coverage.
going after him. They were going after
Yeah.
him in pass coverage.
And I mean, as they should be. We've talked about
yeah.
it all preseason that the linebackers are the weakest unit on that defense, and they have a lot to prove. And Notre Dame certainly made it a point to test them. And I mean, man, that tight end Michael Mayer, he had a heck of a game.
Yeah, he did.
And it would have been better if he hung on a couple balls here and there.
Yeah, no, that one drop too was.
Yeah, that one drop at the end of the game.
That
they
helped
could have
a
won it
lot.
with a field goal right there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He had another drop on a fourth down where he would have easily been a first down.
Mm-hmm.
He could have had 170 yards instead of the 130 or 125 he ended up with.
Yeah.
They obviously, we've talked about the linebacker unit enough all offseason. It's got to get cleaned up. I thought they would have used a little bit more safety help with Mayer. It seemed they wanted to do more linebackers.
Yeah, I was about to say, I would have, a Renardo Green or a JB Robinson. I know he was out the first half, but I think you gotta have Dent back there for the playing the field. I don't know if Gant's the right guy to put on him. Gant's more of a strong safety kind of guy. I would have liked to see Renardo a little bit more in that role.
Dent was fast last night. I was trying to think about, 27's running around everywhere, and he saved a lot too. Saved a lot of first downs. He was fast coming from backfield over there on defense.
Yeah, and while we're on safeties real quick, you got to give props to Sidney Williams. He played really well. Has 6 tackles, I think, 4 solo, and he had a couple sticks that were impressive. I know, that guy coming across the middle, he just wrapped him up, right to the ground. I thought he played really well. I thought the secondary, as a whole, played well. Minus. You want to talk about Travis J?
I was going to say that's one thing that's got to be fixed. That wasn't so well to me.
Both of those touchdowns
in the right position, but I mean,
it's technique, man. Like, he's one of the most gifted players on the team. Physically gifted. It's technique. He's got to play with technique. He mistimed his jump and he loses on a 50-50 ball in the first touchdown. He jumps a half second later. It's a pick. And then the second one, he didn't even get his head around. He just
no.
And
those things can be fixed. They've got the talent. I'm glad that they put themselves in the position to be there and combat with it. That was just hell of a catch. Shit. But they're in that position.
Was bad.
Yeah, that kind of stuff can be fixed.
But then on the other side, Jarvis Brownlee was an animal, especially in run support. He was fantastic.
4 solo tackles. 6 total.
I don't think we hyped him up enough this offseason because he had a lot of good moments last season. But he's got that attitude that you love from a cornerback. He's got that typical Florida State DB mentality where he's just going to get in your face and be proud about it.
Yeah, he believes in himself. And, after the game, I was usually stay there for a little bit, but he was on, very, very, very emotional on the field. It took him a little while and a few staff members and players to come over. Yeah, a few of he was just really disappointed, and he just believes in himself along with this team too. But I was glad to see that, and this team was disappointed leaving the field. But we'll talk about that later. But
I want to throw one little. I know it's one game and it's early, but I want to throw a comp out there for Brownlee. Tay Cody, under recruited, just a dog mentality. He's not afraid to get his nose in there and in the run support, and he's going to fight you in pass covers, man.
Who are you talking about?
Brownlee.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's a dog. He likes to be physical too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also important to note with the defense, 2 of the touchdowns they gave up, the drive started on Florida State side of the field. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be too mad at some of those. The first drive, you had the botch coverage, then you had the other one where you gave up a long screen pass because you blitzed 7 on 3rd and 17. But
that was just a great play call.
It was a great play call.
Damn.
Yeah, I wish we didn't bring 7 on 3rd and 17 or 18 or whatever it was. But other than that, I wasn't too disappointed with the defense.
Mm-hmm.
No, is a little bit different here. I mean, looking at some of the stats,
3 sudden change situations that resulted in 21 points.
I mean, look at the rush defense.
It always happens, but the difference in the rush defense, is last year versus this year was like 260-yard difference.
Yeah, and people talk about. I saw last night about the North Carolina game, and they're like, "Well, Florida State kind of did that last year." No. The second half, that wasn't the case. I mean, they kept the defense stayed the same this entire 4 quarters, which is nice to see. I mean, then on the other side of things, the pass yard is a little bit different, but at least in the rushing defense, I mean, that defensive line. Let's talk about the whole defensive line overall. I mean, that is a whole complete 180 from what we saw last year. I mean, guys were just crunching down, allowing the linebackers to come in and stuff, but there was tackle for losses. The running backs had nowhere to go. There's containment for most of the part of the game. And it went to show, I mean, that what saved a lot of those drives, that defense to, get off the field quick.
Yeah, I tweeted it last night and then this morning. Notre Dame had 65 rush yards last night compared to 353 a year ago. And a span of less than 11 months is an incredible turnaround. I don't think that can be stated enough. And then the 9 tackles for loss and 4 sacks is the most in 2 years for Florida State against the Power 5 or Power Conference. I mean, that's in one game against what's probably the best offensive line you're going to play all year. I mean, Notre Dame's had 4 offensive linemen go in the first 2 rounds, the last 4 drafts. Like, this is an offensive line powerhouse year in, year out. It was a really impressive performance from the defensive line.
Yeah, we expected Notre Dame to come in and really try to run it down Florida State's throat like they did a year ago. And like you guys have said, I mean, the defense stood up like something we haven't seen in quite a while. And to shut down that rushing attack, of Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree, 2 very good running backs who made a lot of big plays last year. It was very impressive. And I mean, you look at the stats right there, 1.9 yards per carry, longest rush of the night was only 12 yards. Florida State's defense did exactly what they wanted to do against that rushing attack, shut them down and make Jack Cohn beat him with his arm. And, unfortunately, he was able to make enough plays for Notre Dame to do that. But rushing-wise, I think Florida State, they've got something to build on there, and we're just going to have to see if the communication between the defensive backfield and the linebackers can continue to improve against the passing attack.
Yeah. Maybe let's go talk a little bit about the offensive side, too. Now you talk about Jordan Travis and also Mackenzie Milton coming in. Jordan Travis had to leave the field because his helmet came off, but then came Mackenzie Milton. And as you can see,
he got banged up, too. Right then,
Norvell said he was dealing with calf cramps, and then once Milton came in, they just decided to sit the rest of the game so his calves didn't keep cramping up. But it was pretty clear once Milton had that first 22-yarder that it was like, oh, we got to stick with this because we need yards fast. It worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought the tempo between Jordan Travis and Mackenzie Milton was a lot different. I mean, every positive play or completion or whatever for Florida State, Mackenzie Milton was getting the offense right on the ball and getting them going again. Whereas I thought things with Travis were a little bit more slow and not really with as much pace.
I think part of it is Travis is still developing at diagnosing coverages, whereas Milton comes in, he just knows it. I mean, to me, it was easiest to tell, like, as soon as the ball snapped, and it seems like Milton has an extra second or two because he already knows what he's doing with the ball. Travis gets the ball, and he's looked like he sees that first read, then he starts to scramble, he's getting happy feet, then he's trying to extend the play. I think that's the biggest difference. The offense just had such a hard time sustaining drives, especially early. We talked about in the production meeting, if it wasn't a 3-and-out, it was Florida State was scoring in 5 plays or less. I think they had, 4 3-and-outs with Travis at quarterback. And then finally he had the 15-play, 75-yard drive, late third, early fourth to get the touchdown, had that nice scramble past the Parchment. But it was so boom or bust early. And we need to see more offensive consistency. Yeah, the points look great. 38 points against the number 9 team looks great, but it was herky-jerky for a long time there.
So I think I believe Norvell in the calf cramps. I think it was after his sideline run. There was a timeout, and Milton was kind of starting to get loose and warm up, and the trainers were working on. I thought they were taping something on Travis's leg, but they were working on his calf, so it's quite possible that he was cramping up. But also, I think that when two, that was a personal foul when Travis lost his helmet. That should have been roughing the quarterback. But when
and
Milton
that
went in,
hit on Milton.
yeah, when Milton went in, man, it was the flow of the offense changed, in my opinion. As Austin said, the offense was too boom or bust. You have to be able to sustain drives, and that's against not just Notre Dame, but that's any team. You can't just be either or. You have to be able to sustain drives, and I think that's based off. Milton's just a more experienced quarterback, as Austin said. He's just more experienced. But I think that that drive, Milton had the team moving. So why switch it out? I think they were giving him a little bit of opportunity to see what he had, and they stuck with it. And he came in with under 9 minutes left, right? Like 8 minutes 54 seconds, I think is when he came in, and that comeback was quick. I just think that the offense looks better under Mackenzie Milton. And I know there's been people saying I'm bashing Travis and all this stuff. I just don't think that he's ready to be a full quarterback yet. I'm not there yet. He has a role. Both of them have a role in this team. Travis is an important player for this offense. But I just felt overall that Mackenzie Milton, when he came in, the offense just it picked up its pace. It moved the ball. He made better decisions.
The biggest standout to me was the touchdown drive to get within 3. He hung in the pocket and delivered a strike over the middle to I forget the receiver. I think it was Helton maybe, where he just put it in right. He just put it right over the top of the linebacker, but he stuck in and took a hit. We didn't see Travis do that because as soon as he sensed pressure, he was trying to get out of the pocket. That's what this team needs. They need someone that can just deliver strikes like that. And once he started doing that, Notre Dame had to respect the pass, which they weren't doing all game. And once that happened, then all the running stuff started opening up. This offense is so much more multifaceted, in my opinion, when Milton's going like that.
Yeah, and early on, they're trying to screen stuff. In the first quarter. I think that Norvell noticed just how little they respected the wide receivers, and they were bringing the pressure. And I think that Norvell saw that, understood it, and tried to go screen game. And how many times did he overthrow the running back? 2 or 3 times.
It was 2 times in a row in that first quarter.
And it was open. Like, you complete that pass, and that's going for 15 to 20. It's open. So, just the composure, and that's all I'm going to say because, we're a family podcast.
Nah.
Going back to Mackenzie Milton, though, I mean, I really did think he made a couple of impressive plays. He made that shovel pass whenever he was in traffic, looked like he was about to get sacked.
The shovel pass was sexy.
Down. I think it was kind of like a botched play where either he went the wrong way or whatever, but he just like tucked the ball down and ran it for a couple yards for like that 7 or 8 yard scramble, whatever it was. So I mean, just his ability to recognize things so quickly and then make the right decision. I mean, that's what Florida State is going to need in this offense.
And you also have to point out his throwaway on the botched snap.
Yeah,
he's smart, just pick the ball up and throw it away. I mean, that's something you don't get from someone that's not a 5th-year quarterback. Like that was as impressive as anything else he did last night.
Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah, but I just want to say, like, credit to the dude's moxie for coming out. His first game in like 1,000 days or whatever after this horrific knee injury. Coming in down double digits in the fourth quarter against a top 10 team, and then just having the balls to nearly lead Florida State back in 8 minutes. I mean, credit to Mackenzie Milton. I really do think if he would have played, the entire second half or what you have at Florida State, probably wins this game.
Can we go back to the snaps? Not to give away, 3 up, 3 down. That's coming out, but man, that was
how awful they were.
Wow.
It wasn't just the centers either. There was the lawn snappers as well. Like now I understand why this lawn snapper battle keeps going. It's because they had at least 2 bad special team snaps from what I remember. One punt, 1 field goal. But
there were 6.
But man,
I think there were 6 bad snaps, from Smith alone that were not just like a little off center, like either too like low to the ground, left or right. They're just awful snaps.
Well, we had heard too going into this game and latter half of the fall camp that Maurice Smith was a little dinged up, and that seemed to be true because you saw Bavion Johnson get into the game, and it was just atrocious. I mean, the quarterbacks had to crouch down, you go to the right, left. I mean, couldn't take a damn regular snap.
Yeah, I remember early in the first when we're backed up against the end zone and Travis is leaning all the way to his right to catch the ball and then running left. Yeah. I'm like, man, what are we doing?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on there. That's got to be fixed. I mean,
Notre Dame had some bad snaps too. I mean, I don't know if it was maybe the field conditions or what you have.
Nah, man.
Both sides.
Those two
beautiful
fumble
day,
luck, man. Notre Dame had fumble luck in the first half too. Those two, I think they were both dusting off bad snaps, right?
Yep.
So
to talk about running backs real quick too. I mean, not Jermaine John, but Sean Corbin, man, we heard about his explosiveness coming back, but boom, I mean, he was gone, bye-bye, and finally everybody got to see Treshaun Ward in person playing a real game, and hello, that's running back number 2 in my opinion right now.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of the running backs look good, even to Philly, who you didn't mention. The few carries he got, you see he only got 6 carries. He looked good on those six carries. Mm-hmm. There was that one play in the fourth where it looked like Treshaun Ward was pretty much dead to rights at the line of scrimmage, and he finds a little wiggle room, gets 12 yards.
And that's
that play was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what Dustin and I had seen in the spring scrimmages, and I just was waiting for people to see it in person. And it's nice to see it facing against a number 9 team in the country and play like that. He is fun to watch. He makes plays out of nothing when it seems like there's nothing to be gained. He's either fighting for it or he's just dicing someone up and getting 5-yard gain or a first down. He's fun to watch. But I liked how they had him in Wildcat there in the red zone because that's how he is. He can dice off a few defenders and get in there, and it would look like easiness for him.
That 89-yard touchdown by Corbin, I think that settled down the team. I think it settled the offense down because they're struggling early. I think that settled the offense down. I think it settled down the crowd. You could tell the crowd was getting a little antsy. But what does it tell you that Treshaun Ward was the running back late in the game? And it wasn't Corbin. It wasn't Philly. It was Treshaun Ward. So,
I think he was just a hot back at that moment.
Yeah, but I think that they have a lot of confidence in him, and that I firmly agree with Logan. Like he's now the number 2, and
seems like it. Yeah.
I'm okay with that because he's a natural runner. He's patient, his vision, his ability to cut in the hole. He is a little like Devonta Freeman. He really is. Smaller stature, just more powerful than you think, and he's explosive.
Yeah, I mean he's a shifty runner. He's very tough. He can break tackles, and I mean he's just a workhorse. This is a guy that came into Florida State as a walk-on, earned a scholarship, and now is probably number 2 in Florida State's running back rotation. So just to see the work he's put in and that it's all paying off, I mean it's a heck of a story in itself.
Here he is. So I love this right here. So watch him allow for his blocker to take on this block, and then
this is the Wild Ward right here.
Wild Ward, I like it. Watch him let this take that block on, take that, then bounce
it out, bounce it back.
Yeah,
and that was no wasted motion, full speed. That wasn't a stop and bounce out, stop, bounce back inside. That was full speed, one cut, loose hip. Just very natural running.
God, I wish he would have pitched the interception to someone. Like, just make something crazy happen.
Oh, Travis J
on that last play. Yeah,
he would have been the number one guy. He would have been the number one guy you want to have that ball take it down. I wish he just wouldn't have gotten tackled. It would have been lordy day. That place would have erupted. I don't know if I'd have been able to do a podcast the next day. I barely was able to do today. But overall, gentlemen, last thing, maybe wide receivers, offensive line. I mean, we're still going to wait on Gibbons and see. He went down with an injury. It seemed like a leg injury. But overall, offensive line, just kind of. I was kind of a little nervous there in the first part of the game, but seemed to kind of get it going a little bit later on. And then wide receivers, Andrew Parchment got a touchdown. McLean was out there. He's very fast. He's got to stay on the field more. Helton took a big shot, as he usually does, and came down with it. I'm trying to think.
Williamson was in there late.
Yeah, Williamson was in there.
Yeah, Williamson was the one that got that the shovel pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was kind of surprised we didn't see Burrell on offense.
Yeah, it seemed like Florida State wanted to go with a lot of speed in this game. I mean, I know Burrell is probably, he's not going to be the fastest, but he's a physical guy. Just seemed like he had McLean in there. He had Douglas, hauling ass. Helton's also a quick guy. They just were running a lot of speed last night. I think we're going to see a lot of Burrell. We're going to see a lot of Burrell in this Jacksonville State game this upcoming weekend. I just can't wait to see one-on-ones with him because the quarterback's going to have to give him a chance. And there's times this last night where there should have been shots taken for one-on-ones, in my opinion. Definitely Parchment.
Yep.
Yeah, looking down here at the stats, Keyshawn Helton, 53 yards. Obviously, we know Douglas's big play there, man. I thought he was going to get caught or tripped up, but his speed, that's why the source that I am talking to said, man, he might be 1 and 2 right there with Corey Wren. I mean, that speed after catching the ball and not allowing that DB to tackle him, that was impressive. That was bye-bye speed.
Definitely a little disappointed to see Parchment only come down with one catch, but we've talked about the quarterback struggles, and we'll see what happens moving forward.
Like, I think that was the only time he was throwing the ball, maybe 2-3 other times. But I thought the offensive line, I was pleasantly surprised with Darius Washington. He looked the best he's looked. You can't afford to lose Gibbons, so hopefully it's just something small. Got to figure out what's going on at center, but they got to get a little bit better at pass pro. I think the run game is going to be very, very good this year, but you got to be balanced. So you got to figure out what's going on with the passing game because the receivers got open last night. Cam McDonald had no catches, so you got to get him involved. I'm not ready to sound the alarms yet there, but I think if you see what Milton could do in an entire game and see if that impacts your offense, see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really to me, the biggest problem with the offensive line, at least from last night, was the center issues and not being able to consistently create a pocket. And, things just – you really get out of rhythm whenever you're having snap issues like that, getting behind the chains. And, even the quarterback, you never really know what snap you're going to get. So you're thinking about that before the play. Like, is this going to be a good snap or not? And late in the game as well, Bavion Johnson got subbed in for Maurice Smith. In that, it was either the last drive or the overtime drive. I can't remember the play. Whichever play it was after Gibbons went down and they replaced him. And then Notre Dame brought a heavy blitz that side the following play. It was 5-on-5, but FSU's 5 only blocked 4 because Bavion Johnson went to the right instead of the left. If he would have went to the left and picked up that blitz, Milton potentially completes a wide open pass across the middle to Cam McDonald.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So instead of a field goal, we're talking about a touchdown to win the game in the last minute. It's just little mistakes like that are costing Florida State right now. I mean, man, they showed so much potential last night that, and I remember when we did the season predictions, I said 5-7. If they bring this level of effort consistently, I'm instantly bumping that up to 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, moving forward, I mean, this team, and there's a lot to like from after last night. The fight, the courage, that's mainly number one. And number two, there's a lot of talent everywhere, and the defense impressed me more. That was my number one concern going in this. And I know Notre Dame put up some points, but I think there's a lot of things that can be fixed. There was also a lot of mental and just silly mistakes that were made on the field, penalty-wise, that costed Florida State in certain ways. So I think Florida State, it showed this whole fan base, and I'm seeing, the personality that they're showing right now and the attitude after that game, saying, this is tough, but love this team. We're already thinking about Jacksonville State. We have to get ready for that game. It was nice to see that kind of interaction that these players are having on social media and in interviews and everything like that. And it was cool to see Jordan Travis too, while Mackenzie Milton was, going down the field, playing well, and also celebrating with Mackenzie Milton and being there for him and supporting him. That's something that you just love to see. And I like that those two are close with one another. Any last thoughts, gentlemen, before we get off and get ready for Jacksonville State on Wednesday night here? 2 days away, Lordy Day. We have no breaks this year.
We are on to the Cox.
Well, that is definitely
phrasing.
I hope so. I really hope so.
The Gamecocks.
There was one last comment about the tight ends. I saw Jordan Wilson a lot out there, and I thought for numerous times in the red zone they were going to use him. I just thought it'd be a perfect time. They would have never even known that he was going to go out there for a route, but never happened. I do think Norvell, if he can, they've got to utilize that tight end room too. That kind of definitely advances that offense a little bit more too, because Cameron McDonald, man, I feel like he still has a big season ahead for him. And this is only one game, man. We got a lot more games than last year. It's going to be fun. There's a lot of optimism too. We got another late night next weekend, boys. 8:00, even later than last night. Lordy day.
Yeah, cannot wait. Jacksonville State at 8:00. They could have just made that one at noon. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate noon games, but that's one where I'm like, I'm okay with that being done by 3:30.
It works for me because I actually get to watch the game, at least most of it.
You got ACC Network?
Yeah. I got YouTube TV.
Just hoping to pull a fast one on you.
Yeah. But guys, definitely appreciate this. Was just an instant reaction. Here we go live every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We definitely appreciate all of you guys commenting and interacting with us. If you wouldn't mind, if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe too, so then you'll be notified every time we release a new video or episode from the podcast. If you're on Facebook, share with your friends. If you're on Twitter, hit that retweet button. And if you're listening on iTunes, feel free to rate 5 stars and leave a review. It definitely helps. But yeah, we're on to week 2, gentlemen. We're already there. It's Monday, so we're on to week 2. We're on to week 2, baby. What did I want to say?
Nothing. Just keep going.
We're on to week 2, not against what you said earlier. So, but yeah, thanks guys. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.